television in Africa.
PACIS TV, ta vie renouvelée en Jésus-Christ.
Hello and welcome to PACIS TV. Welcome to my home show. I'm Felicity as usual, and I think wherever you are doing well. Now I have a special guest. Chantal, yes. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Yeah, did you subscribe to our channel?
Yes, I did.
All right. Let me start by inviting those who didn't subscribe to please do that so that we can enter our today's show feeling at home. Today's topic is also special because we have a special guest. Mutesigasana Chantal is a novelist, author, gospel artist, publisher, editor.
And a mother. Don't forget about that.
Oh, what else? The women
literacy. Literally, my whole life is about literacy. So I do a lot of festivals. I do a lot of reading promotion. I write. I read. So I am a reader. I am an author. I am a publisher, and I sell books.
And you sell books,
yes.
Huh? So you do this for business or for inspiring or for teaching?
No. Actually, I do it for business.
For business?
Yes. It's my daily life that I do. That's what I do from Monday to Sunday.
Wow.
Yes.
Others of your age have chosen to become doctors, medical doctors, police officers,
I know.
and in many other
areas,
professions.
Yes.
Yeah. So why did you choose this profession of?
I think I didn't choose it. It chose me.
Wow. So
I literally encountered this by accident. I received a phone call. And someone was looking for a marketing person for books. The company was from Uganda. And, you know, I went. I didn't know anything to do with the books apart from reading them. So when the person said that he was looking for a marketing person, it was a little bit a shock. But I think when I got there, I realized that there was no one else who was going to do it apart from me. That's how I started doing it.
That's how you started?
Yes.
And that was in which year?
2008.
2008.
Yes.
So it took you how long to realize that you were in the best profession, that was your career, that was your talent?
Well, I think my life is more about identifying or being a problem solver. So when I met the person who called me to come and go into the book industry, literally, I was forced by the challenges that I encountered because these people had come, they had gotten a government tender, they were going all over the country marketing books. But I realized that apart from the books that they had for the tender or they had the market for, there was nothing like... there was no more than that. And yet when I met head teachers, when I met students, they were looking for more. They were looking for our stories. And I think within 1 year, my head had already started to be like, if you don't do it, who else is going to do it? And that's how I entered the book sector. I started with a small bookshop in Kigali. I ran it, and then I started, you know, writing children's stories that were more of, you know, the Rwandan story, you know, talking about, you know, books that really reflect our culture, our values, our daily life, because most of the books that were in the market that time, they were books that were being translated from other languages and from other culture and from other, you know, traditions and narratives. And for me, also as a mother, I think it pushed me because looking for stories for your children and then realizing you have snowboard, you have books that really don't have any reality with what you live in every day as a Rwandan. That one pushed me. And yes, in 1 year, I was able to establish my first bookshop. And in 3 years, I was able to establish my publishing house. Yes.
What are the challenges you faced when in your early age, let's say the very first months, or even the first years?
Yeah, I think the challenges are the same, but maybe in a more
friendly way,
or more.
So no harmful.
Yeah. So the challenge that we face as publishers and authors is lack of market, because we don't have a reading culture. Definitely 2008 we didn't even understand why books are very important, but I think now there's a lot of policies that are coming in play, people talking about it, so the challenges are the same. Products you buy, you make a shirt and no one is coming to buy it, then I think you won't be in business for a long time. So the challenges are the same, but maybe they evolve. The more people start, learning about the reading culture, the importance of books, I think it changes a little, but still I think the challenge is that. But also I think one of the big challenges is that publishing as an industry in Rwanda is not yet known to be an industry. The publishing industry is a very big industry in other countries. If you go to Kenya, if you go to Ghana, if you go to Nigeria, I'm talking about the African countries. I don't want to go to London or US because that's a huge market. It's a big market because literally, even in Rwanda itself, the educational books go up to 10 million per year, $10 million, which is almost 14 billion. But I think people don't understand that the ecosystem of books is big. So not understanding the books as an ecosystem, from the authors to publishers who do editing and designing the books and making sure that they connect the story to the readers, to printers, to distributors, to people who market books and bookshops. The whole ecosystem has a way that it faces the challenge of not being known, and therefore people are not investing in it adequately. As every business, you see the TV we are seated in right now, it has cameras, it has journalists, so the publishing house is like that. The book ecosystem is huge, but I think the lack of understanding, and maybe the other challenge is the purchasing power of the users of books. Because if I went and did for example, an agro big book, agro share, fair in Ichirehe or in Dutsiro, people will come and buy, potatoes, cassava, and all that. But if I put books on the side, I'm not sure if someone can sell the goat and buy a book. So I think also the purchasing power, but also that one comes with a culture. Because I have someone who told me that we don't buy not because we don't have money. We don't buy because we don't understand the value of what we're buying.
And we are not used to.
Yes, so those are the challenges. So they have been persistently for 15 years following me.
Yes, I see. But looking at these 18 years,
yes,
I can say that somewhere you said that the market is huge, but I can add that the market is also promising, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because when I opened my first bookshop, people used to come thinking that they're coming to buy pens and papers and books. So they thought about stationery, not books. And we made it intentional that we were not going to add anything else apart from books. So I remember there's this guy who came and said, hey, so hari n'abantu bose burya se bacuruza ibitabo, hari isoko ry'ibitabo. I
Do we have such
yeah.
bookshops here in Rwanda?
Yes, so do we have like a place where you go and buy books? So for me, I think that one was not a shocker, but it was also a promise. So we are having a lot of policies.
At that time, I think it was also, your bookshop was in a strategic area.
Yeah.
Near the university.
Near the university, yes. Yeah. And I think right now the promise is that at least there's a lot of, you know, authors who have been born, you know, the more people that are talking about books,
so
but also publishers.
Being inspired by
yeah,
your
people
work.
are being inspired, not necessarily by me, but maybe by the fact that our stories need to be heard, but also policies. When we started, there was no book policy. There was no creative industry policy. But right now we have a lot of policies coming in place. The language, you know, policy. There's creative industry policy coming up.
The copyright.
The copyright, the intellectual property, the, you know, the book policy that is being developed now. So there's a lot of policies that we think are going to facilitate and enlarge the market. And I think the more we talk about it, the more we point to people where they should be investing. It's changing. Yeah, the narratives are changing, and I think, yeah. Yeah,
actually, this is the reason why I asked you about the challenges.
Yes.
Your style. I like your style. It is there is a big difference between your style and other authors we have here in Rwanda. I was going to say here in Kigali, but here in Rwanda. Generally speaking, it is rare to read the novel written or produced by Rwandan authors. So how did you choose this style? Novel, no?
Well, I think I'm an introvert and extrovert at the same time.
What does it mean?
It means that I am a person who looks inside, who doesn't talk much, but I'm also a person who talks much when it comes to the topics that I like.
That is introvert.
Extrovert and introvert. So I think for me, I love reading books that are more fictional. In as much as my children's books are more non-fiction, but I have a lot of fictional stories with children. Because I think fictional stories help people to be creative. It also supports people to want to dig deeper into the story and understand it. So I love it. That's my style. That's the books I read. It doesn't mean that I don't write non-fiction. I do, especially when I'm writing about, you know, my faith and sharing the stories of faith. But I think for me, writing this story, I wanted the story to be a representation of so many other young people. I wanted the young people to understand our story as Rwandans and be able to read it. So I feel like fiction for me is an interesting way and style of writing. And of course, we have other very good authors that write fictional stories, people like, you know, Mukasonga Scholastic. We have other authors. We have Beata. Unfortunately, they don't live in Rwanda on a daily basis, but they're some of the people that they inspire. You know, but also we have regional, the African continent authors like, you know, Chinua Achebe, Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Those are the people that actually, for me, I loved their writing. You know, when I read Things Fall Apart, The River Between, I feel like, wow, this is a good writing. It amplifies the language and it talks about the language in a different way, you know. So that's why I chose that style. But it doesn't mean that I'm not authoring also into non-fiction. But I love fiction because it tells a story in a different way. It has a different flavor. You can play with words anyhow. You can decide to describe, you know, a space in a way that people will be like, wow, okay. So it really makes the story to be beautiful. Yeah.
Actually, your style is the one that caught my attention that I said, what? I need to invite Mutesi and look at this fiction because, like I said earlier, it is rare here in Rwanda to see a woman that is, who is focusing mainly in these fiction stories.
Yes.
So the story we are going to talk about today is Mulisa's story, From Exile to Legacy.
Yes.
It's like legacy. It's a promise, a
Yes.
promised land.
Yes, it's a promised land.
Yes, actually, like I told you last time, I like the cover. I like the cover.
Yes,
which
I
means
wanted
that
it to be Rwandan.
Rwandan, yeah. It is
Yes.
Rwandan full. Rwandan full. Yeah. So, who is the woman behind Mulisa? From Exile to Legacy.
It is me. Well, I think
Because
I was
it's-
born in exile, so I grew up in exile and raised among, you know, different, having a name that was not mine. And this story actually is not my story. You know, most people think that Mulisa is either me or my brother. It's not. But this is a story of Rwanda. And when I was writing this story, I needed a story that young people or people who don't have any clue on the Rwandan story can be able to read and understand and have a small glimpse of what Rwanda is. A definition of Rwanda from before in exile to, you know, the aftermath of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi to what people started building, like, you know, reconciliation, and then give a hope and give young people an assignment to build that legacy, an assignment to make sure that what has been fought for, what has been built, they can take it forward, but not being actually tied down by the past. Because I think it's one thing to go through a lot of challenges. It's another thing to overcome the challenges positively, because you can overcome challenges also negatively. So I wanted a story that would tell the positive story of Rwanda, but also commit the young people to the fact that they need to keep the legacy and whatever. And I think as a journalist, you even know more than I do, that Rwanda has come from far.
Sure.
But the young
That is
people
obvious.
sometimes don't understand where it is coming from. Because when we are telling our stories, sometimes we tell it from our pain. But they need to hear the story that is painful, but easy for them to understand, easy for them to grasp, and easy for them to make it their own story. That is what I was trying to do. And that's why I decided to make it a historical fiction. Because I wanted the story of Rwanda to be told in a different flavor. Yes, we have a lot of books on the testimonies of genocide survivors, which we need more of them again. We have stories of, you know, people talking about what the country is achieving. But I wanted to just do a roadmap.
A roadmap. I like that because there is a question that anyone can ask you, but you already responded to this.
Yes.
Why you opt for a fiction story rather than biography.
Yes.
But I want you now. I want you to clarify this. Yeah.
Well, there's a different. Okay, there's a very big difference in writing styles. You know. Biography can be autobiography, meaning you write about you.
Yes.
And I think most of the times it's more of what you have achieved, the journey you have traveled, blah, blah, blah. And then there is also memoir, which I think most people, and memoir, you can decide to write it in a fictional way or non-fiction. Memoir is documenting your life story. But you see, sometimes I think as Rwandans, you can't write your memoir in one book. We have a lot of stories that sometimes it's hard to put in one book. And so you find someone like writing like, you know, becoming, unfolding, or, you know, my child, or, you know, it depends. So there's a very big difference between those writing skills, you know, skills and styles, but we need all of them. We need biographies, we need memoir, we need fiction and non-fictional stories because we still have a lot to write that is not written. So differences of writing styles depends on people's, way of living, the way they want to tell their stories. But also fiction can help you to hide some of the traumatic conditions in a story without people knowing exactly your story. So that's the beauty of fiction. Fiction you can write about, for example, your pain without showing your pain or without people knowing it's actually you. So you can hide, but you can tell the story still. But memoir and biographies, they have to be you. They have to really be you. And for me, I think all the styles are important. And they share the same message, but maybe a different way of sharing it.
Good. I think you are in 2008, before you start this business, you took time to understand the market. Now I want you to give us a piece of advice. Considering the culture, Rwandan culture, reading culture. So, what do you think is the best choice for Rwandans to understand, to like that story of Rwanda? This time,
I think
don't bring yours because it is yours. But honestly speaking,
I think Rwandan story should be written in all forms because we have what to write. We have a lot of things to write. Even on genocide, the topic of genocide alone, we have a lot to write that has not been written. For example, we have history books that show, the story of the history of genocide. But we haven't seen people who are writing, for example, the psychosocial analogy of genocide. Why did the people do what they did? Psychologically, what was happening in their mind. Why would a husband go and kill their own children because they look like this? Or why would wives and mothers kill their own children because they look like the father? That was a psycho-social problem. It was there was a political brainwash. There was a political movement. But there was also what was happening in the minds of people at that time. I think we haven't started to go to that side, which is why I'm telling you we need every style to write our stories. We have a lot of things to write about. We have children who survived genocide, and yet their parents are the ones who killed another parent. There's a lot of things to write. Therefore, I cannot say this is the right style to write. But also we have the international community that want to learn about our stories. And sometimes they will run from our memoir, our biographies, or the stories of our survival. But they also need to learn to use the literature approach of fiction to understand our story. That's why I'm telling there's no one single line of style that I would say that Rwandans can use. We just need to hold the pen and write in any style that we are writing in.
I think you agree with me if I say that this is a good story for the right audience. You are writing a Rwandan story for Rwandans to read. But considering the style again, I'm coming back to the style from exile to legacy. I'm telling you, a simple man like me, just like a journalist sitting next to you, will not easily understand the meaning. That is one. Second, why did you choose to write this story in English? It seems that you wrote this for the audience, the people who went to attend a university or who did the literature.
No, I didn't do that. You see, an author expresses themselves in a language they understand more. But also... That
is the science behind.
Yes, because if I have to write in Kinyarwanda right now and I write fiction, it won't be. But if you read the book...
But the editors are there to help.
Yes. But if you read through the book, you will realize that actually there's a lot of words that I couldn't find the meaning in English and they're in Kinyarwanda. For example, If I say the names that are here, most of them are Kinyarwanda. Gasigwa,
Mulisa.
Kamari, Murisa, Wimana. All these names, I kept them like that. It was very easy for me to use, Annette, Jen, or Cecile, or, Joseline. But I wanted to keep the story random. And you will find some words like Abarinzi b'igihango, you find, which I decided to keep like that because I wanted the people who are reading it to understand. For example, if I was to write about Gacaca, how would you call Gacaca in English? So authors have a responsibility to write. And when they are writing, they write in an easy language. But you're right. This book is supposed to be in other languages as well, and it is being translated. But of course, the first version had to come through the language that I'm more comfortable to write in. And yeah, but to be honest, there's a lot of words like the veterans gathered every evening at a small bar called the Mahoro in downtown Kigali, nursing beers that lasted too long and sharing stories that came in fragments like pieces of puzzle, too painful to assemble completely. So the way I was writing was more of to keep the authenticity of the story so that I don't lose it. But again, I had to use the Kinyarwanda names like Muka Mutara, there's a lot of names that I kept like that because I was writing not only for Rwanda, but for the international market, but also I wanted the people, when we are reading Ngugi wa Thiong'o's books, for example, you will realize that sometimes he keeps some words in Kikuyu because he wants to promote that culture and that language. And we know that even when we translate, there are some words we can't translate.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't translate, for example, Umurinzi w'igihango. What is that in English or French? You can try to loosely translate it. I know, right? I like that. Are you sitting around? Yes. So writing is more of an inspiration, and but also the language. The language is very important. And when you read this book, you will realize why I did that. I put a note for the language because I wanted people to understand why I kept some Kinyarwanda words there. This novel uses Kinyarwanda terms throughout to preserve the cultural authenticity of the story. While translations are provided, some concepts cannot be fully captured in English. Readers are encouraged to sit with these words to let them carry their full cultural weight. Language is not just communication, it is identity, memory, and the container for people's worldviews. So by preserving Kinyarwanda in this text, we honor the reality that some experiences can only be properly understood in the language in which they were lived. So that's why I kept...
and also, I think, to add on that, I think it is also very important to write to those who speak English to see and to read about Rwandan history and to see how far we have gone. Yeah. Yes. So that is, I totally agree with you that English is also a best language to use to communicate.
But it is coming out in English, as in Kinyarwanda and French actually as well. So once it comes out, we will. But I think for me, I was writing also for the young people in high school and university, which I think is they understand the language very well. Sure. Yeah.
So then again, the title, looking at the title, From Exile to Legacy.
Yes.
Well, why did you choose this title?
This is, again, the story has to start somewhere and it has to end somewhere.
Yes, yes.
So, and unless I read you something, maybe you should be able to understand.
The good thing is that by reading the title, it gives the hope that the end is good.
Yes, it gives the responsibility actually, to the young people. Because the last word in this book says, Murisa is a reminder that from fractured beginnings, something enduring can still be created. The last word in the book, okay, on the 150 pages. But also when you read and see the last part at page 142, I said, the legacy continues not because we preserved it unchanged, but because we raised a generation capable of carrying it forward.
Wow.
Yes. So you cannot build a legacy, even if it is a family legacy, even if it is a project. You can't build a legacy if you're not looking at young people. And I think the president has already shown that by committing some huge responsibilities to the hands of young people, so that they keep the legacy of preserve what has been already done. But why from exile to legacy? Mulisa is, like I said, I wanted to start the story of Rwanda. And I think when we are talking about the story of Rwanda, we cannot talk about it without talking about, exile. Because most Rwandans went into exile. But the story of rebuilding a nation started in exile. It started with people who were saying, we need to go back. We need to have a country. We need to have a home. And that's why the first chapter actually starts when Mulisa is in a different country with Rwanda. Is in in a country where she was struggling with identity, because she was born in a country, she grew up there, and most probably she thought that was my country. And he was there for some time, and he saw his brothers coming to Rwanda to liberate the country, of which he didn't understand that time, because he didn't know why they were even coming to fight. He had a lot of questions. He had grew up on stories from the mother and the father telling him there is a country called home. But even where he was, it was home. But he couldn't fit in, because he was always called, Impunzi, which is what you will read when you read the book. He was always called a refugee. So he grew up with lack of identity. And when he came to Rwanda, he didn't find exactly the stories they were telling him. He found a country that was struggling to breathe again after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. And he couldn't understand as a young person. So he travels the journey of Rwanda till today. But again, he gives the assignment to the young people for the future, so that they have to keep that legacy. They have to build the same, they have to dream, And most probably, he's telling young people that, the war that you're going to fight is not that of bullets and, maybe you're going to fight the war of technology or the war. So he's trying to tell young people, look, this is where we are coming from, but this is where we have to go. This is how we have to think. Don't be unchained by the past, but look at the future and know that you have to forge your own path in the future.
So Mulisa, like I told you, I like so much the name Mulisa. So who is this Mulisa? Without revealing too much of the
who
plot.
Mulisa is? Mulisa is a young boy who just was born in exile and came back to Rwanda after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. And he comes to a country that is shattered. And he doesn't find, literally, he doesn't find the story they had told him. They had told him Rwanda is a country of milk and honey. But when he came back, there was no honey, there was no milk, that was flowing. He saw the horrible outcomes of genocide, and then he went to classroom with kids who were survivors and kids who were coming from the perpetrators' homes, and they had to live together. For me, I think the story of Mulisa is a boy who just decides to write the Donan story in a way that adults cannot understand, or adults might not be able to be like, this is how. But it's a book for me that can help also the parents who don't know how to tell the Rwandan story. Yeah, sometimes our kids ask us questions too hard to
answer.
But maybe Mulisa could provide
not only because we don't have facts, but because
our story is
like
yes,
that.
our story is not that a straight line. It's horrible to tell to young kids. If a 6-year-old comes and asks you what is genocide, what do you answer?
I remember one time I was working for an organization in peace building. Then we heard a story about a parent. He said that one day his son came back from school, and then he said, today we learned about the 1994 genocide committed against Tutsi. So then he said that they told us that some were killed, others killed. So Daddy, which part were you? Yeah.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
And I think it's a question that every parent faces. And those are questions that we don't discuss. But I think for me, writing this book, I was looking into the eyes of my sons and daughters, what they would ask, but also into the eyes of every parent who could be entangled by our story, by our history. You know, because, you know, we are the generation between the people who liberated the country and the generation that is being born now. We are in between there. And we are the ones who are supposed to stand in between and reconcile our story and make it one story and tell it to our children in a way that they can understand without giving them the traumatic inheritance of what our parents did. You know, yeah. So for me, I standing in between. Yeah.
And also you said that this is meant to help parents. Some parents, I'm also a parent, we don't even know much about our history if we look at, you go back to the kings. So we, in Rwanda, we have boldness stories, even starting from the time of the kings. Yes. So why the novel begins after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi? Why
it begins in exile.
Yeah.
It comes to the war of liberating Rwanda. And then it goes after the genocide because, you know, but I think it's, it doesn't start with the kings because, like I said, you
that
don't
is actually
want...
what I was going to ask.
Yes, you don't want to worry the children with a story that is too far for them to comprehend. Because I mean, if you bring, so I would say that I wanted to do the Republic style, not the kingdom. But I think also I was trying to be like, how can I help these kids just gather the story of Rwanda in one synopsis without going far. But I think also because it's a historical story, the history cannot be exhausted. Maybe there's another one who has written from the kingdom to 1994 genocide or to exile. And then, or maybe we need to write another novel from the ancient Rwanda to exile. So that when we say from exile to legacy, we have we have a reference. But I think it was more of, you know, a story of that young man, which I think is also a factual story at some point. Yes.
Yeah. Now the book suggests that the legacy is built rather than inherited. What does it mean to you?
A legacy is built because if let me use the example of this studio, you know, the TV. If the people who are looking at the TV in 20 years, they have to build the culture of this TV. They have to build, you know, the strategies that help. So legacy is built. It's not something you wake up in the morning and give to someone. If you want your kids to keep the legacy of humanity, of respect, of love, of the national values, you have to keep telling it to them. You have to train them to practice that before you commission them to go and become good citizens. So legacy cannot be built by just passing the baton. You first pass the baton of what legacy is, which is more of values and building a whole human being. So building a whole human being cannot be built in one day. It has to be something that is intentionally planned, purposed, passed down. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so without spoilers, what lesson do you hope readers take from Lisa's struggles?
I think I will just read something that someone wrote.
Olivier Karambizi.
We can do that, or Dr. Mjenzi, but let us read Olivier Karambizi. He said, Murisa is not merely fiction. It is the portrait of a post-genocide generation, summoned to own a history they did not make, yet cannot escape. Born in exile, raised on stories of a homeland never touched, returning to a Rwanda still learning to breathe again, through Murisa's journey from displacement to purpose. So, but at its heart, Murisa is a book about transforming pain into foundation and understanding that true remembrance is ultimately the work of becoming. So I am hoping that every young Rwandan, after reading this book, or any other person who can read this book, they will understand the story of Rwanda. They will understand the pain of Rwanda. But they will also be committed to keeping whatever that is happening right now. Because I think I came here in 1995 as a young kid, you know. But I think I have seen this nation transform into wonders. Imagine if I don't tell my child how I found this nation and where it is going. And then they just wake up and think that, you know, Kigali Heights, Radisson Blu, Inzovumor, just grew up like trees, the way you plant a bean and it grows. You have to tell them the pain and the what it costed, you know, for all these things that we see to be here. That's when they will value them. That's when they will be able to take them forward. That's when they will protect them. Otherwise, we will raise kids who can wake up in the morning and throw stones on those buildings because they don't know the cost that it costed the country, it costed the leaders, it costed the mothers and fathers of this nation who have invested into making Rwanda what it is. And it is our responsibility as parents, as big brothers and big sisters, to keep reminding our young people about that. That in as much as we are having a lot of IT, the AI is coming, these things don't just grow on AI. There's a lot of investment that happens. There's a lot of sacrifices that has been made. And I think that is what I expect this book to bring home. That is what I expect this book to bring into classrooms, into, you know, teachers and parents and homes. I want everyone to understand that there is a cost that was paid for this nation. And each one of us, we have a responsibility to keep remembering that. Because when we forget about the cost, it is very easy for us to forge something that is disastrous. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. So, how long did it take you to write this book?
Every author has a journey, but this book, I first had the thought of writing it in. Well, I was reading actually Chimamanda Ngozi's book. If you see. The pages of the book, I will talk about where I'm talking about some of the references that I had with the books. And I think it was more of reading the Americana, which is Chimamanda Ngozi's. I felt like I wanted to write down something about Rwanda. I wanted to write that story. And then I put down stories, I think from 2000 and maybe 16. Then in 2018, one of my sons was turning, I think, 11. So he asked me a question. He told me, Mom, can you summarize for me the story of Rwanda? And then he told me, I think sometimes I get confused. So he told me the confusion he had. And I realized it was actually a confusion. Because he was telling me, wait a minute, you are Rwandan, but you were born outside this country, and your parents were born, and then. So the questions were too many for him to understand. So he asked me, I don't understand.
So he wanted just you to explain.
Yes, he wanted me to summarize, because he felt like, he told me, by the way, don't tell me the story the way grandfather told me, because when I asked him the question, he started from the kings. You see? So
yes,
for me,
to show those.
Yeah, so he was like, and it was very boring. So he felt like, taking him through all that journey was too long. So he has like summarized for me. So when I decided actually to be intentional about this book and write it, I felt like, yeah, young people don't need all the wrong story of Rwanda. It's too wrong, too painful, too confusing. And then he was like summarized. So Mulisa for me was a summary. And it took me like, 3 years, 2 years to finish. But I think it took me another more years to actually accept to put it out. I have a lot of books. I've written more than 15 novels that are seated on my computer because I've been writing for a long time.
For a long time.
But I think at every stage I feel this is the right time. This is the right time to write about this book. This is the right time to talk about this book. So it's a journey. Writing is a journey that, you wake up in the morning and write one chapter and then you're like, write another one. And then you give people to read. They tell you, I think you should have done this. And then you give it to editors who don't understand. Sometimes I have to also tell my fellow authors, sometimes you go through a lot of challenges because we meet authors who don't understand our narratives. And most of the times the recommendations they give, they are not wholeheartedly good or bad. But it's because they don't understand.
And you have a job to convince them.
To make sure that
They
it's
understand.
your story. Otherwise they will turn it into their story.
Their story. That is good to know. So 3 years and more additional years to finish what you have today, Mulisa, from Exile to Legacy. Just let's go back to these 3 years. Was there a moment that touched during the writing process that touched you more?
I think every chapter of this book touched me because some of the stories there are stories that I lived actually. They are stories that, I could literally relate with the book. But remember I had an assignment of summarizing. So I think when you read the chapters in this book, they are a summary. I tried to summarize. Summarizing was not to cut the story short. It was to make sure that the people who will understand it, who are going to read it will understand it. Why, an 18-year-old who was born just 18 years ago, telling them about the past and all that. So yes, there is a story that related with me. And most of it is from Exile to some parts. But also the whole book actually, for me, every story. There are times when I sat down and I was reading and I would, cry, looking back at summarizing. Some of the chapters had a book on its own. Exile alone. It had a whole story, but I had to reduce it to maybe 4 or 5, 7 pages to make sure that the young person is not going to be taken, to be bored. Because I think that's what they wanted. They need summary, they need short stories, they need easy words to be used, they need sweet words. And so yes, every chapter of this book for me is personal. And it gives me a lot of, stories and gives me a lot of commitment to keep writing.
Mulisa, you know what? Mutesi.
Yes, I am not Mulisa. You can call me Mulisa. So many people call me Mulisa.
Yes, Mutesi. So authors are very special.
Yes.
They are not actually ordinary people. So they may use a given word, but behind the word there is something else. So that is, I think, that is what even the reggae singer, the Bob Marley. This is what I think. This is what he called reading between lines.
Yes.
So this brings me to this question, to the following question. The word legacy for you means what?
Let me read it because I put it there. For me, it means, if I was to say, Rwandan story is still being written. And every young Rwandan,
And we will.
every young Rwandan who chooses compassion over cruelty, unity over division, construction over destruction is adding a new paragraph to that story. What will your paragraph say? And what will you build? How will you honor both the pain and the promise of those who came before you? The pen is in your hands. Write it well. So for me, legacy is not about not making mistakes. It's not about taking whatever happened in the past as swallow it. It is more of interpreting the past into the future without forgetting the present. So it's more about looking into what has been invested into this country and interpreting it into your lifestyle and trying to learn and run with what is defining the future of this nation. So for me, legacy is when whatever that we see today, what we learn from every leader of this nation, from the president to the village leader, those people who have committed themselves to passing the baton of the good things that we see today. If I see it in the next 50 years, then that would be legacy.
That would be legacy.
Yes.
And should I confirm that this is the legacy you want to see? What kind of legacy do you hope this book will leave for Rwanda and beyond?
Well, I think it will leave a legacy of learning from the for the young people. It should be able to give them the past. It should be able to teach them what happened in their past, life of their parents and their elder brothers, and help them to forge a way for the future. But I think for anyone else, I am hoping that they can learn the story of Rwanda, that Rwanda once, destroyed itself, and the people destroyed themselves, but Rwanda also, with a good leadership, was able to build something beautiful out of our ashes and problems. Yeah, so I think Rwanda is a country that has been able to overcome the worst humanity can do and build the things that human beings cannot build in a short span. For me, I think it's a story of rebirth. And a story of the future. So that's the legacy I want to see people, and people reading this book, understanding Rwanda and being able to, to understand where it's coming from and where it's headed with its future.
Thank you very much. Actually, we used, thanks to how you explained your book and the story, it was so important to listen to this story.
So
and
much.
Also, I liked the way you explain every single page, every single chapter of the book. So this has also helped us to use the time effectively. We're remaining with some minutes. So
Yes.
I want to use this time to also to tell us about you have a surprise for us in this June. So please tell us about this.
Well, I think
Ashes.
the surprise is a book that I'm launching soon. It's called Beneath the Ashes. There is a frame. When you look into my books, all of my books have one common, there are two words that keep coming back. It's hope and resilience. Hope and resilience. But I think for me, Beneath the Ashes is more of a Christian novel that I am hoping that it will give hope to people in hopeless situations. But it's biblical anchored, so it's more of a faith-based novel. And it will be launched on the 28th of this June.
That will be Sunday.
It will be a Sunday afternoon. I normally do Sunday. I need people to come and relax. And it's going to be a book that I have written with a lot of, hoping to help so many people, because I think we are going through a hard time. There's a lot of sicknesses, diseases, there's a lot of pain, people are going through a lot of hopelessness. So it's a book that gives hope. It's a book that borrows from the ancient, if I may call it, the ancient wisdom from the Bible of how people used to deal with situations, how, people were hopeless and then they got hope, how situations can be very hard, but, when you lean on to the faithful Jesus, you could be able to get hope. So it's a book that is going to be focused much on healing and hope. And like you saw my writing in Murisa, it's the same style that I use. I love using neutral messaging. It's not come to Jesus, It's really about, this person had the same situation that maybe you are in and this is what they did. You give it a try. Because I don't believe the 6 billion people that are on the planet. Are they still 6? I don't know. But those are the numbers that were spoken of some time back. They don't share destinies. They don't share the same identity. We are all human beings, but I think we are here for a different reason, and we have to pass through different situations. But I think we learn from each other. I need to learn from you. How did you handle the situation when you were going through some painful situation? What did you do? What did you do when you were building your business? So I think it's more of sharing stories of resilience and hope that other people could have gone through, and then, finding hope in that. Because, people are getting busy these days. They don't even have time to talk like this. Yeah. So I think books are going to become our source of inspiration and hope.
I like that. So, again, when someone wants a nice book like this one,
yes,
how can the person find the book?
We have the book in Nikire's bookshop. It's in Caritas in town. It is also in Akitabu. It is also in RY'IGITANGAZAMAKURU bookshop. So we have 4 bookshops where it is. But also they can call me if they want. I can send a copy to them. The book is 25,000. And, buy it for your schools, buy it for your parents, buy it for your kids, buy it for your friends who want to hear the story of Rwanda. So and soon we will be having it also in different other places, like the airport and other spaces that I think people would be willing to see Murisa. So, but for the meantime, that is where it is.
And also, I think knowing what's happened in Rwanda, this helps us to know how we can protect, how we can preserve that legacy.
Yes.
You will pay for this.
Yeah. I'll pay for that advice.
That advice, yeah. So thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, PACIS TV. God bless you.
God bless
everyone. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was Mutesigasana Chantal. So we talked about, we discussed about the Murisa From Exile to Legacy novel that she published. So I hope you enjoyed the today's conversation. I hope also that you subscribed for our YouTube channel, PACIS TV Catholic Church Rwanda. So thank you so much. Stay blessed. See you next time.
PACIS TV, the #1 Catholic television in Africa.
PACIS TV, ta vie renouvelée en Jésus-Christ.
PACIS TV, the #1 Catholic television in Africa.
PACIS TV, ta vie renouvelée en Jésus-Christ.